Oh, looks like my stream chat might be messing up a little bit. Um, I guess happy day after 4th of July would be the right way to greet people for this. I probably will put out another edited video maybe by Wednesday or Thursday, possibly a little bit later than that. It just depends. There's a lot of stuff to address with just some of the things people like to do on here that kind of, I don't want to say annoy me, but I leave there in a kind of confused state when I look at a lot of it. Um, One of the more disturbing parts of just like a lot of the chick stuff I mentioned before has been the response by people who I would say are not affected by it, which means that if I make a decision relating to my own love life, I don't understand how people who aren't affected by it, seem the most upset over it. Um, I really tried to go through my comments over the last 2 or 3 days because I mentioned I have a lot of comments that are like still in my email from when I used to have the notifications every time somebody would comment back when I used to believe in like feedback and listening and the rest of that stuff before you realize that people love typing paragraphs but don't actually listen to what you're saying. And I swear, out of all those comments, or like out of the like nasty ones, like people insulting you, or even if it's not that, like I guess offering advice, it might be maybe 2 or 3 chicks just in must have been 2 or 3 years worth of comments. It was really crazy. But it went back to that thing of how the group that would theoretically be most affected by my decision are, they're at least collectively unconcerned with it. And then you have men like taking the place of the group that's outraged. It's a really weird phenomenon. That's why I gave the example of like, imagine you say I'm not eating at McDonald's anymore, and then you start getting threats from Burger King. You're like, what in the world? It's like one group that you would think isn't affected by a decision you made lashes out over that decision, even though it has no impact on it, or at least it shouldn't. Maybe they found some way to justify it to themselves. I remember this one guy, he was like, why do you always have a title that doesn't end up being the whole video? It's like, well, when you record a video and then you publish it, you can put a title after the fact. But if you're doing a stream, you put a title and then, that might be what you start out with. You might be able to keep that going the whole time. But sometimes it tends to go astray because you're not publishing something, after it's all been said and done. You're like making it with the title in mind. It's kind of like a working title because like you can go back and change it if you wanted to. Yeah, that stream last week did really well. A lot better than I thought it was going to do. I figured I'd max out at maybe like because I know that there's a built-in audience of people that I guess are really interested in the like the conflicts in the progressive civil dispute that's going on. So I figured that it would probably max out at maybe like 300, 400 because I did one 6 months ago that had about 700 on it. So they're about evening up. Man, it's just so sad, like just being so disillusioned with all this different type of stuff. Like I remember back when I first started like posting stuff regularly, um, I used to really believe in the idea that like if you made videos better, if you wrote a script, if you had, this kind of editing, if you made this point, you could actually get a following. And like every time you do a video, right, where it's like some big number of views, it's always either by happenstance, like it just happens out of nowhere, or it's something that you can easily attribute to like factors out of your control. Like if I do a video on secular talk and it gets 700 views, and I do a video on, let's say, I don't know, Yemen, and it only gets maybe 30 or 40. I know that the video on Secular Talk didn't get, what is it, 5, 6 times the number of views as the other video because I've made such great eloquent points in the video on Kyle versus the one on Yemen. It's merely because we're talking about a personality, someone that's, very popular within the progressive circle of YouTube. And there is an instinctive thing where if you put his name in the title, people will be more curious to see what's being discussed, and they'll go to anybody who puts his name in the title. But you get the idea that I used to like really believe in all that hard work trumps all stuff, and not anymore. Like I guess maybe it's also from like doing a show where you draw all of it, you write every script, you take time out of each day to like draw some stuff or just to edit it, to keep it going, and then you're not able to make episodes of it most of the time because you're waiting for a person to read a piece of paper. But do you see how it goes back to that thing of like hard work always being stifled, like your efforts, uh, mostly going nowhere as a result of someone else's decision. And that was actually a key point of like bringing up the hookers. I said maybe it would just be better if instead of actually sitting here and talking to chicks with the intent of getting a date and then forming a relationship, you just, if you want to get banged or a date, you just pay a hooker to do it. And I've had my own subscribers who are like really confused. It's, I can't believe you would pay a hooker to go in. But I said, I feel like there's a certain time for everything to happen for a person. And, I'm not someone who's 16 or 17 or 18 anymore. I don't have to put up with a lot of the ridiculousness of chicks if I want some gratification out of my interactions with them. Again, whether that be physical one or again a date. So if I know I can pay for that to occur with the guarantee that it's going to happen because I paid for it, I don't see how that's less preferable to sitting here and talking to a bunch of chicks that are not interested and are, instead of just saying that, going to waste my time for several weeks or months pretending that they are. Oh, you mean so much to me. Oh, I feel we have a connection. You want to go on a date? Oh. But you get the idea that, if it really does seem as if the only way to get people to do the things you want them to do is to pay them. And it's always, it's kind of, what's a good way of saying it? It goes back to like this thing of how a lot of people will say that if you take on a certain view of chicks in general, and I always say it's not all of them because again, my mother didn't have to talk to 90 chicks, excuse me, my dad didn't have to talk to 90 chicks to get a date, and he didn't have to talk to my mother for a month or 2 months or 3 months to go on a date with her. So I know it's not, all of them, but uh, a lot of people believe that if you take on the cynical view that like most of these chicks don't care about you and are just wasting your time, that you somehow create that circumstance. But I'm going to show in my video the one that has that talks about the like many options that chicks have when it comes to like men and choosing all these different guys and whatever, that you actually do have chicks that get off on talking to multiple men at the same time. And it's not even just like one or two guys. It's like sometimes I don't have the specific number, but in this screenshot I'm going to show in the video, she talks about how there were too many messages to handle, and you can infer from that that it's probably, especially if these are messages that are like a sentence long, God knows how you get what I'm saying. You can infer how many that is without her actually saying the number. I'm speculating it's 10, could have been 20, 30. Um, and again, if someone's not interested, they would just not talk to the person. And she knows she's not going to date all these different men. So, why do it? Because they get off, they have gratification from the attention they get from all these different men who they entice by appearing to be this single woman who's interested possibly in them, even though she actually isn't. Yeah, it's a great way to boost their ego and self-worth. Yeah, and like that's the thing that kills me, that a lot of people who start peddling the like this, like the work hard self-improvement stuff, they never want to talk about these external factors that can really kill you when it comes to the prospect of actually finding someone. Because if Brandon goes to the gym and then he gets on the computer and starts talking to some woman who's talking to guys from Peru and Germany and France and every other country, you know, all that stuff he did, I guess it's good that he did it, but it's not making a difference. But again, you'll never see these coaches or these dating gurus or whatever other term they use actually address that, because it pokes a hole in the the mantra of mind over matter, that if you believe in yourself and do stuff to yourself, you can just make all these people attracted to you. And it's just it's not it has factors that are out of your control that these people don't prep you for. Oh, that video is 700 now. Wow. Now, Tina said it best in the comment section. I hope these people comment again. It's like, yeah, I'd be very shocked. I'm not going to hold my breath. There's a whole bunch of phenomenons on here where like one person makes a video and it gets like a whole bunch of views, and then like all these people start subscribing to them like crazy, and then they put out another video and it doesn't even get anywhere near the amount of views. Like that's just a really weird phenomenon that's been on here for a long time. This like thing of doing one video that a lot of people watch, and then you put out another one and they don't watch it, but they're subscribed to you, like to infer that they will watch it when they don't. It doesn't even have to be guys from other countries. It's other guys in the same city or other cities, guys who she would never meet. But this goes back to my point of how when you have all of this competition, like you'd have to really have an ego to believe you're going to stand out from 5, 10, 15 other guys. And again, they know that when stuff like this becomes prevalent, like when people come out and say, hey, I'm not going to talk to a bunch of chicks who have multiple other men that they're interested in talking to as well, when this is literally the only broad I'm speaking to. I'm not interested in that. Uh, they know that it stuff like this doesn't entice men to try, because you're looking at these numbers, you're saying, how am I supposed to overcome all these people? What's the name of that show, America's Next Top Model? That's what you are. Like you're like the male version of that, with this chick picking out like, or am I in the final three? Dude, nobody wants to be part of a woman's reverse gender harem. Nobody. I remember when I was in my first semester of college, I had this history class with these, and I would sit with these two chicks because they were they were nice, whatever. And we would sometimes discuss other stuff, and then one of them asked me, because they were talking about what races of men they like, and they asked me if I cared about the race of the woman, and I said no. And then one of them was like, "Oh yeah, well of course a guy doesn't care about the race." And it was almost as if, even though they're not on the computer, even though they probably never heard about any of these different groups, they on some basic level know, again, off going off of their real life experiences, not on the computer, how hard it was or is still generally for men to get a date, like to where they can be, where they know like they as chicks can be picky about, like stuff like ethnicity and all the rest of that, and then you as a man are just supposed to take whatever comes your way, or get accused of being picky, or having standards that are too high. I just always remembered that interaction. Like, of course, a man doesn't have a problem with ethnicity. Like, yeah, take whatever you can get. Like, I always talk about that gold digger. She didn't. The only reason she even got anywhere close to me because that was the only chick that showed any interest. You know, it was first come, first serve. She could have been green and still would have had the same result. But again, that's not because she's some amazing woman who has like, achieved all these great things that we can all name. No, she was a nobody. But again, when you're the only person of the opposite sex that's showing interest in a man, you need them to do a lot of stuff. So when they get you in that moment of desperation, there's no turning back. I think a lot of this has to do with the toxic self-help propaganda that has been spread up for over a decade. Go watch self-help content by women. It's bonkers, dude. Well, again, man, I wouldn't have a problem with the self-improvement stuff if it didn't have such like obvious double standards. I mean, again, we've been over these before, but just the idea that you have to like own an excess of wealth to go on a date with someone who probably doesn't have a pot to piss in, I think something's wrong with that. Um, I had a guy who tried to insinuate that if I had a degree, I'd have an easier chance getting a date, or that that's like something I should do, go to school. And I'm like, the majority of people don't even have degrees. Like, what are you talking about? But do you see how it's like one thing after another with these people? They want you to like climb all these different barriers and jump through all these hoops for a group of people that you know by virtue of their gender they're never going to hold to anywhere near the same standards. So then they get upset with me for looking at that and saying, hey, this is kind of not worth my time, it's not very helpful, and I don't see a benefit in this. And the only reason for bringing up the hookers in the first place is because a lot of people try to insult someone over like not going on dates or but it's like you can pay for that stuff by a hooker. Like I don't mention that as if it's something to brag about or to try to like get people like other people to do it. I'm just saying that it's still an option for someone who cannot get a woman to actually act like she has some common sense and not waste his time talking to him for weeks or months just to say she's not interested in him. Again, that's why I said I don't like people on here because they act like I'm wrong for being upset over that, and then it's like, even if they concede it's screwed up, they still double down the nonsense. They still tell you to do this self improvement stuff. They still tell you all their little like fan fiction theories. Well, maybe you did this, maybe you did that, because it's always going to be your fault. That's why I said with the self improvement stuff that you could go to the gym for the next 2 years and have an 8 pack. And if you get rejected by a woman, it's going to be the first thing out of these people's mouths. Well, you have a nice physique, but you probably approached in a weird way, because it's a never ending game of defending the chick, putting her on that pedestal. She can do no wrong. She's always the one in the right. So they can keep you down here like a little peon pissant that, again, is just a puppet for chicks. You're supposed to bend to their will and acquiesce to their petulance. It never ends. Dude, that's why I said we need to do that video, the romance comic book. Because in comics, right, they have characters that people say never change or never grow up. So like the guys online who tell you to do the self improvement stuff are that way. Like an actual character arc would be them seeing a man do the stuff that they told him to do, and then the man doesn't get a date still, and they're like, something wrong with these chicks. This guy did all this stuff to improve himself, and you people still don't show interest in him. What's wrong with you? Because again, that would actually like make sense. Someone would have followed their advice, shown them evidence of this, and then still receive the same result. And then now they would be defending that person because this person did improve themselves in their specific ways. But they don't do that. They keep finding other excuses as to not criticize the chick because the woman is never wrong, according to them. This guy was like, "You always blame the women." I'm just doing to them what you guys do to me. If I always get blamed on here, I feel it's only fair that they should also get blamed by someone always. It's just how it goes, tit for tat. I had James talking about, I don't think it's the fault of the woman, or he's like, no, 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 I'm not letting them off with that excuse because you know what? If I came on here and said that I want to get with someone, but I rejected 90 chicks, like if it was reversed, where it was me that always said the chick wasn't good enough, people would say I had an ego, and they would say I was the reason I was single because I turned down all these chicks that were showing interest. So again, if you turn them down, you would get, as a man, blamed, and then when you get turned down by them, you also get blamed. So that's why I said they can find you guilty in the same situations where they would find a woman innocent. I'm staying out of that. The never-ending cycle still prevails, it seems. Yeah, I saw your response to that Gerds person. I don't know what it is with him. It's like he wants to write stuff to you, but then if you actually respond to him, he doesn't even say anything back. You're always going to be found at fault regardless if you did follow their advice. And also, Megumi, I want you to think about this. This has been going on for 10 years for me anyway, right? Wouldn't you say, objectively, right, a person who has had chicks turn him down or like has had like the same continued stuff result from them, that went from being a teenager to an adult, probably has improved in terms of what they own, their conversational skills, since these people act like that stuff is important. Like, do you understand how much of a prick you'd have to be to say that someone over a 10-year period where they went from being underage to an adult did not improve? Do you get what I'm saying? Of how like you'd have to really be like trying very hard to make it my fault as to say you did not self-improve at all or very little, you know? But again, they'll never give you any credit. It's always your fault. If a man had multiple women show interest in him, but he complained about being single, people would blame him, saying he's yeah, absolutely. Dude, I even had some guy on my video ask me, "Have you ever rejected a woman?" And I said, "Yeah." Well, I didn't respond to the comment like on there because I don't write back to people in the comment sections. But I have. I had two, I think, when I was in high school, like show interest, and I wasn't. But let me tell you something. Me turning down two chicks, was that 5, 6 years ago, is not the same as a woman making a profile on some website, whether it's Reddit or whatever other site they use to talk to these different men, and then sitting there and talking to 5, 10, 20, 30 different guys who they're not interested in, but will talk to regardless. I always told I told both of these chicks, I'm not interested in you. No, thank you. There was no weeks or months long of me going, well, I feel like we have a connection. Never. I don't waste people's time, especially people I don't want to do anything with. But like somebody could take that and say, well, you're single because you didn't date this one person when you were in 12th grade. I'm like, yeah, that's right. Imagine if they came on here and told a woman that if you had just dated that man 6 years ago, you would still be with him. We all briefly glimpsed into the future of this alternate universe where you said yes. They would never do that. I know, but these guys who keep saying it's your fault, it's like they are brain dead when it comes to chicks in general, and they'll just blindly defend them to the ends of the earth. Hey, what's that one Spider-Man episode? I think it was the Alien Costume Part 2, where he's like, "Shocker! I'll hunt you to the ends of the earth." I can just picture these guys like they're on their computer wearing the black suit, and they're like, "I'll defend these women to the ends of the earth." That guy is strange. He always leaves silly comments on your video, and dude, it's like you read his comments and you're like, "What are you even talking about?" Like for like 2 or 3 of his comments, he always says true and then like but or something. It's like, what are you even saying is correct? You're responding with a sentence to an hour-long stream. He's gonna be the first person this year I ban. Oh, I just know he's gonna write something because that sugar dating thing was insane. It's like, how do you go and watch a video where someone says in plain English, right? I don't speak any other language. I don't want to go on a date with a or be in a relationship with a woman who likes me for what I own or money or finances, whatever. And then you respond to that by saying, you should try this type of dating where uh, the woman trades sexual favors to be with the man who she likes because he pays for her stuff. I was like, you what? But that's why I said these people, like, it goes back to my point of how I'm expected, like when these people write stuff to me, to listen to them, but they don't actually listen to anything you're saying. Oh, thank you, Duel. Oh, you're trying to flatter me. Yeah, I haven't seen you on anything, any like videos or comment sections in a while, so I was very concerned. I gotta make sure that like one of the only two people that supported me on Patreon actually is all right. I really appreciate it. Megumi says, "LOL." I wasn't laughing when I saw that ridiculous thing. You don't think it's sad that like people actually believe you're supposed to like look at that like let's say you just want to date somebody, right? It's like, oh man, I can't wait to get with the woman who's going to beg me for money every day. You don't think it's sad that people believe that's what you should be excited for? That's like a thing that you should expect of a woman. Like, it's funny if you really think about it. We've been over this before. That a lot of the stuff they say about chicks is way more sexist than anything I've ever said. Women are shallow. That's why they want you to have muscles if you want to maybe go on a date with them. It's amusing because of just how ridiculous his solution was toward you. Is it too much to ask for a relationship where you actually like the person and are liked back by the person for who you are? Is that impossible? And like guys, I just go off of relationships I've seen in real life. I've never seen one where like the woman pays for anything, other than herself. I guess if you're a man, you're just expected to be a random broad's bank, huh? You're supposed to turn into the what do you call it? Into a woman's super PAC and be like, oh yeah, you need somebody here, take this. It seems like it is, unfortunately, in this era anyway, with social media running rampant. Again, people think a lot of this stuff is normal, like, and it's even funnier when you consider that a lot of the people who justify it never had to put up with it. Like, we talked about a certain woman. We're gonna have her remain nameless, but you know which one I'm talking about. If you what I have to say, it's like here you are as a broad admitting that you had two guys by the time you were a young adult ask you to marry them, and you're going to claim that you understand what a man who's been rejected more times than he can count is going through, and you don't expect to get laughed at or not taken seriously. And the reason a lot of men don't believe that, because they talk about there are like chicks that can't get a date. The reason a lot of men don't believe in that is because we've all seen chicks we don't find attractive at all have a boyfriend or husband. Like, again, if I went on Facebook and showed you a certain it's not even a certain person, it's like a certain type for like I just will type in a name and I'll get some woman that's overweight, which I don't think should stop somebody from getting a date. But again, we're just going off of what we know they would do to a man. If you don't even have to be overweight. If you're not muscular, they'll try to like body shame you. And she'll be with the man who is either skinny or, I guess colloquially, he's in a better condition physically than she is. Like by just very easily. And you're like, what does he want with her? Like you'll sit there and be bewildered. And it's so weird too, because you're not even um attracted to men, and you're like this man who is someone that is at least conventionally in shape. I don't understand why he would be with this person who's much larger than he is. But it goes back to that thing of how like you're supposed to accept chicks no matter what condition they're in, but then chicks are supposed to get the like best versions of you, and you're like, what the hell? Oh, James, I don't even want to see you. I'm about to get rid of you as a mod after that book deal you signed. Where he's going to catalog his experiences being a mod for me and talking about he witnessed me ban everybody that had a different opinion. So we'll be getting rid of you very soon. I don't think a guy has to be super jacked at all to be attractive. I don't think it should. I don't think you should accept a woman at any size either. Hey, well, you listen to people on here and they tell you a different story. Hugely one-sided and in favor of chicks, along with dating apps / websites. Yeah, and then like what really kills me though? A lot of the chicks that sit there and complain about um, not being able to get a relationship with a man who actually likes them for whatever. Like they go on these websites where people are only talking to each other because they think the other person is hot or attractive, and then you're like surprised when you're speaking to a shallow bastard. Like get mad at Reddit all you want, but most of the time when I spoke to a chick on there, I didn't end up seeing what they looked like anyway. So it would be I would be more inclined to actually be attracted to that person for who they were versus some pretty picture that they had up. Dude, it's the funniest thing in the world to see, like, just remembering some conversations I had with a few of them where they're like, oh, I'm so tired of men trying to talk, but then like you're on a website where that's what they're supposed to do. And again, a site that nobody made them sign up for. They play victim. I've dated guys of all different body types. I just think being in shape is ideal, but it's not necessary if you don't like what I think you're saying what they look like. You can correct me if I'm wrong if I miss corrected whatever the last part of that was. But this goes back to that nebulous term thing. So you have to define what being in shape is, because I could factually prove that I'm not overweight, and I've still had people attack me over like not going to the gym. So like a lot of people apparently believe if you don't have a six pack, you're like on death's door when it comes to your weight. So define what being in shape is, because they all just seem to have different definitions of it. We don't have a 4th of July here. What I mean is typical bodybuilder look, so big chest, big arms, broad shoulders, abs, that type of thing. Well, okay, you can say that's ideal, but my thing is if a woman does not exercise at all, why is she entitled to a man that does? Like I don't again, I don't have this like weird thing where I expect the person to do something I myself have never done. Like if I came on here and said, "You must have a PhD to go on a date with me," it's like I don't have a degree. So like why am I expecting a person in this hypothetical to have one? Yeah, ideal shape is subjective. Because again, I don't expect a woman I go on a date with to be ab crunching at the gym. But again, these people apparently think that if you're a man, you're supposed to be Hercules. I can show you. I don't know what you've seen of my channel. Was it Razan? I think I don't. You can correct me if I'm pronouncing your name incorrectly, but I can show you a screenshot of a man who told me to do 500 push-ups a day and run. What was it, 3 miles a week? Some like a more slim build, some more bulky. It all depends. No, they will sit there and drive you crazy. You're like, who the heck? And again, in real life, I don't know, like, of the couples I have seen, none of the men are muscular. You can only get a date if you have a gym membership. Yep. Ideal body types from people. Oh, ideal body type varies from person and culture. Do 500 push-ups and you'll get the woman of your dreams. Yeah. Dude, I know people that do push-ups and none of them do that much. Like they might put like 50 a day might be their maximum. I've never seen anybody that does more than that. That is insane. It's like how many hours would it even take to do that? I tell you, if you listen to these guys on here, they really think you're supposed to be like this. You know, I think it's funny. Like a lot of them will tell you to get a life and do stuff that has nothing to do with chicks, but then they also want you to do like a lot of stuff that is very time consuming all at the same time. Like at the same time as you're supposed to be doing 500 push-ups and running 3 miles a week, you're also supposed to be traveling across the world to different countries with this passport to meet chicks and other lands. You know, what the hell? You just take one look at what you see in real life and it shatters any idea or narrative these clowns preach on here. Exactly. You will never see me tell you you need to have X, Y, and Z to get a date because every time I go outside, I see someone that doesn't have it still end up with a woman. I can't believe someone can do 100 and set. Do you know what? It is impossible. And guess what? That clown that said that, because what did we talk about? The people who have these big expectations of someone physically. Sorry about that. The people who have these like expectations of you physically and usually don't show their face to prove they themselves do it. So that guy, he had a picture of like the top of his head. You would think if someone had muscles from their 500 push-ups a day, they would show it, right? Like you think if I had a 6 or 8 pack, I wouldn't be walking around with my shirt off in every stream. I'm like, look at how buff I am, guys. Look at all this. Look at social media when the guy who plays Superman or Aquaman something come on screen, women fawn over them. Not every guy can meet that standard, but looking like a model, I guess, helps for some women. Yeah, but you don't get that overnight. So imagine like just reverse the genders for a second. Imagine spending months becoming muscular to appeal to men so that one of them might maybe go on a date with you, because no matter how muscular you are, you're still not automatically going to get someone to like you back or to want to go on a date. It's just, again, that's why I say the juice isn't worth the squeeze. Doing all of this physical regiment stuff for weeks or months for someone to maybe say yes to a date is just not it's too chancy and too much effort is involved with something that you can't guarantee. You should look at the ideal body types of ancient Rome people today would be jeering at them because they don't hit the gym. Yeah. Well, again, dude, I feel like if I go and look, like, again, I don't know anyone in real life other than maybe two people that go to the gym and neither of them have muscles. Like, I don't know where these people live, where it's like every guy they know just hangs out at the gym all day. That's true. I knew a guy who was in shape, but I didn't like him. It came down to his personality. I guess guys focus on that aspect because it can boost your appearance increment. Oh, I would believe that if I didn't have screenshots of how many chicks talking about, oh, we have a connection, I like you so much, and then they talk to you for weeks or months, and then you ask them on a date and it's too much. I'm not attracted to you. I think we should just stay friends. So I said you would never catch me talking to some woman for weeks or months that I like the personality of, but not enough to go on a date with. That would be insane. But chicks do that. That's why in the video I did, I called it excessive time wasting, because sitting there and talking to someone for a prolonged amount of time that you claim to like and have such this was it this great fondness toward is indicative of what a woman would do if she likes a man. But these chicks that just want to waste people's times have co-opted this into being a thing they do with all these different men to just get attention from them without actually doing anything the man wants, such as going on a date. Because that's like too hard for them apparently. They do the 360 or reversal happen so many times. They as chicks in general. Again, we're not saying all, but a lot of them like doing that. A huge waste of time, and you aren't allowed to get annoyed about that apparently. Nope. You're supposed to just take it on the chin. Well, it looks like I got rejected by a woman who I sat there and spoke to for 60 days. Better luck next time. Even though people of the ancient world were a lot more physically active than any modern gym. Man, these guys, look, I don't even believe in those people that write that stuff in my video, because most of them hide their faces and never show proof that they themselves are doing all this stuff to get a woman, or that they've been successful with getting with a woman. But being physically active is not the end all be all. So I said any modern man that tries to like really sit here and think about this chick stuff will drive himself insane, because there's too much little like subjective. That's why I did the video. I've been criticized for everything. I showed where people will just sit there and nitpick the ever living crap out of you. Again, for the purpose of defending chicks. Like I had 2 or 3 comments telling me I couldn't get a date because of my necklace. I've never seen, again, flipping genders, I've never seen a single goddamn man tell a woman he's not interested in her because of her necklace or some other, like a piece of attire she was wearing. Never has happened. I'm supposed to take off something that honors a deceased relative that took care of one of my closest family members, so that some broad that ain't worth a pot to piss in can like me for enough to go on a date with. Yeah, can maybe, yeah, that sounds like a good trade. Take off the memento to someone that actually mattered to you, so that a person who doesn't even care about you will maybe like you. May I ask, is there any guy in this chat who got really in shape, and by that I mean became a bodybuilder and trained like a year and still struggled to not get women? I'd love to see that, because again, we don't sit in here and pretend to be what do you call it, bodybuilders, or that we know how to get one or whatever. What else is here? I'm gonna have to probably go for a second. Let me So I had to go outside and grab this thing, so I left for like 2 seconds. Okay, bodybuilding takes years to achieve, though. Well, listen, uh, again, I'm not here to suggest that you won't see a possible difference from being a bodybuilder if you try to go like get a date. But again, doing all of this physical regiment stuff just so a broad who, for all we know, has never exercised a day in her life can maybe go on a date with you. I think there's something wrong with that. It's just like I had some idiot talking about you should if you get 100,000 subs, I bet a woman would like. It's like you want me to become internet famous to maybe get a date. That's why I said if you're a man, just keep jumping through all these hoops. Oh my god. People really type that stuff and they think it's normal. They're like, "Yeah, you should try to become famous so that some woman nobody ever heard of can go on a date with you. You should buy a car so that some woman that doesn't have a bicycle can go on a date with you. You should become a millionaire so a woman that doesn't have a penny in her pocket can go on a date with you." People really think this is normal. They're like, just do every possible thing for people that have nothing, that no one knows. Did you ever approach or talk to a woman in the gym? But working out does not matter. Exactly. Being in shape and taking care of yourself should be enough. Not every man can be a bodybuilder. Well, that's why I said they're trying to turn men into stormtroopers. Like, there are overweight chicks that have a boyfriend. There are skinny women that have a boyfriend. There are chicks that actually, the ones that do exercise here and there have a boyfriend. And, people accept that. They don't get upset. They don't get mad. They don't go, why is this one getting, like, it's accepted that, chicks are allowed to be different. But if you're a man, everybody has to be a bodybuilder. You have to go to the gym every day or every week or whatever. So I have the screenshot where the idiot said, go to the gym every day. Like, and this is before the COVID era. So he expected me as either a student, which I was at the time, or a person that worked, to find the time out of my day to go to this building every day until this magic woman appears, manifest. Oh my God. I'll go to the gym for my own benefits. Yeah. No, you gotta go every day so that this woman that for all we know doesn't even exercise will like you. That's fair. I worked out at home. I have a gym at home. This when I was going to high school. Staying physically active and taking care of yourself is enough to be a healthy human being. Not all men can have perfect physiques. And like I said, dude, you know what? If they did a poll where it was like 80% of chicks are like muscular or whatever, that then again it would make sense to me for people to say the men have to also be that way because the chicks have shown that dedication to exercise. But they're not like none of them go to the gym enough as to quantify telling all these different men to go and sit up here and develop these physiques. Like, come on. But again, people actually write that stuff and they think it makes sense. And like I said, the majority of people that type that stupid crap, you go to their channel, what do you see? They have a picture of something else. Or if they do have a picture, it's up here because they can never prove they themselves actually do this stuff they're telling you to do. And that's the elephant in the room that people always try to pretend like they're so well attuned with chicks, but then they never have proof that they're with one. And I wouldn't even care about that if I didn't have people trying to cast doubts on my recollections of stuff. I don't believe you when you. It's like, okay, well, I don't believe you. Anybody can come out here and make an account with no picture and say they're with a woman or that they have muscles or they live in a mansion. You're gonna try to shame me for showing myself, but then you over there hiding. Hey, where's that? You're gonna try to shame me for what I look like, but then you over here so hideous. You gotta do this while you type. Hey, I did that skip before. Let me grab the keyboard. Look. This is the guys that try to make you feel like embarrassed over not being with the woman. They're over here doing this, hiding their face and typing stuff they can't prove. But you're the one supposed to be embarrassed. The irony of these clowns knows no bounds. Like, yeah, they're the same ones who will tell you that because you're not with a woman, you're going to shoot up a school or blow up a building. But then they're the ones acting like villains by harassing a man over not being with a woman. You're going to try to accuse me of evil behavior, but then you're the one acting like a villain. Again, if I came on a woman's video where she was talking about how hard it was to get a date, which I don't even believe exists at this point, but if I came on one of their videos and said, you can't get a date because you're ugly and you're probably going to molest a man, I would look like a villain. People would condemn me. But when they were all that stupid stuff to me, I didn't get one defense. Because that's all the chick stuff is. It's getting rejected over and over again by women and then harassed by other men if you talk about it on here. And then they're confused as to why you wouldn't want to keep putting up with that. Again, the juice isn't worth the squeeze. Imagine a woman getting rejected by a man, and then like she goes online and then she starts getting harassed by other women. It would never happen. Oh, that Razan person vanished, I guess so. Staying physically, taking care of yourself. But you know that really is disturbing that they actually believe in the stormtrooper stuff. Because like I always make sure to say, even when I'm pointing out that you have these overweight women that have like boyfriends or husbands, I don't believe that someone's physical appearance should by itself stop them from like should make it to, because again, people always tell you not everybody's the same, right? I've never said you should have to be skinny or muscular to get a date, but it's like, you know, you're supposed to like be accepting of chicks again, no matter how they are, but then be condemned for who you are because it didn't net you a woman, even though the people who are condemning you haven't shown proof that they're with one either. Remember, you're supposed to accept everybody for who they are, but then you're going to get condemned. It's real nice. Dude, that broad from the what was it? What was the video called? Woman asking a date and then backflips or something like that. I saw what she looked like, and I was just sitting there thinking to myself, it's like you have to take anything. Oh man, my chat die or freeze? People stop writing stuff. I guess I said the last word. Yeah, the power of men. They always find a way to condemn somebody else for something. I felt the same way in the past as well when I used to be active in pursuing chicks. I mean, it's just it should not be this difficult to get a date. People act like chicks are an endangered species. They act like all of them are these perfect, amazing darlings that you know you just are not capable of even touching the bottom of the foot of. Again, like a random chick nobody's ever heard of should not have 30 men trying to talk to her, or 20 or 10 or whatever other number. They're not celebrities. They're not well off. Like I don't get why there's so many people competing for these chicks. Like it really baffles me. Yeah, this whole dating scene is bonkers. That's more than that. It's ridiculous. It's criminally unfair. It's hypocritical. It's just it's really insane. To be clear to anyone who watches this, we are not frustrated because we can't get a date. We are upset because of the constant slander and assuming we're some psychos because we can't get a chick. I mean, I'm probably more upset over that than the actual date thing at this point because it's like if you just ask chicks out and they said no, that would be it, whatever, right? But it's like they'll sit there and talk to a man that they don't have feelings for the longest amounts of time ever, like for weeks or months. And then when you get upset over being led on by one of these bastards, you have a whole comment section of people who are trying to make you ashamed because they have this thing where they're slanted to defend chicks no matter what, and then try to act like you're going to do something to one of them when you've never communicated such a thought. No, that really should be a video, just like I did the like how romance dehumanizes men, but like not how it demonizes men. Because a lot of people do like taking the moral high ground by using your love life as like ammo against you. This man doesn't have a girlfriend because he's weird. Dude, if I told you about some of the chicks online and the stuff they do and like the fact that they're still with men, it's like you're really gonna sit here and tell me that all these chicks are sane and normal? Like we've had chicks kill their kids, and you're gonna sit here and talk about uh, the 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 mental health tests that men must be able to be evaluated for in order to dare as to have a date with the like, get out of here. Oh, they're gonna still feign confusion because again they don't listen. It's like you're speaking Chinese. It's their job to not understand and to be confused and to like misrepresent stuff. I mean, we saw that in my stream on Wednesday. You sit up here and you talk about dispelling allegations that the leader of a country did not gas his own people, and then you get accused of being paid by Russia, and then your friend responds to that, and then the same people he used to work with are now going to accuse him of being a harasser 2 years after he stopped working there, and only after he defended you. So I said all people do on here is try to slander someone or lie or make something up. Yeah, I'm not going to hold my breath. Holding out hope that they get it. If these people don't stop writing this stuff, Jesus. They're talking about some combo at some food place. It feels like any weird organization always manages to get a hold of my number and just start sending me weird stuff. It's all for the views. What's all for the views? I mean, I do think a lot of this advice is like unhelpful and just nasty. And again, they expect you to conform to a system that is openly antagonistic toward you. Like I said, I do most of my stuff is about romantic rejection and like how difficult it is to just get the tiniest bits of attraction from abroad. But there's a lot of bad stuff that happens to men when they date chicks too. Like we haven't talked about the child support system where it's purposely slanted in favor of the woman because people assume the woman always more often than not is more concerned or caring about the child. We haven't talked about the men that have lost their children because their wife or girlfriend killed them. There's a lot of awful and terrible stuff that happens to men when they get with a woman, and you know that's why I said that like it's already bad enough to sit here and have to get rejected over and over. But if you actually get with one of them, you're opening up a whole Pandora's box of stuff that people don't want to mention because they want you to believe in their Disneyland scenario of riding off into the sunset with this broad that likes you for who you are and you always get along and you don't argue and all the rest of that. They love doing that stuff. Just pretending everything is fine and great after you get a date, and it's a lot of times it's the beginning of a new set of nightmares and issues. I just don't sit here and try to do the Fantasyland stuff. Like I go entirely off of what I've seen. Like I'd love to sit here and tell you that, oh, it's okay to get rejected over and over because one day a woman will like it. But every year it stayed the same. Like if you approach them, you get rejected. If they approach you, you get rejected, as we showed last month. Uh, if you leave them alone, you'll end up like talking to a few that again do the same thing of leading you on, and then nothing happens. So I don't come on here and try to say stuff that I don't have screenshots to prove or otherwise substantiate my claims. I wish I had better things to say about women when it comes to this topic, but I don't. There have been too many lies, too much time wasted, and just an excessive amount of difficulty for something that should be very minor. All you're doing in a date is sitting across from someone at a restaurant or next to them in a movie theater for an hour or two, and then you never have to do it again. But this like very simple stepping stone thing has been stretched out to be this like enormous saga for nothing. All this stuff about wanting to get to know somebody, it's all just a bunch of BS, man. That's why I said it's really good you saved the screenshots of this madness. Well, again, when I have people who want to doubt my recollection, but they want me to believe them, I think something is inherently wrong with that. Because I don't like not believe people if they say, this happened to me. They give you give them the benefit of the doubt, but you don't get that in return. It's always your fault. Yeah, there's a lot of dumb stuff these people like to do. And again, the chicks are the main architects of it. You know, uh, like I said, I had two chicks that showed interest. I didn't like either of them, so I said I'm not interested. Like I don't believe in wasting people's time. All this self improvement nonsense and YouTube drama, it's for views. All right, thanks for clarifying because I was trying to understand what you were saying. There goes a random phone call again. I'm so tired of this thing. One of these days, I'm just gonna turn my phone off for the whole day and see how many people try to call me and don't get anything. Yeah, this stuff is pretty nuts. Like I said, if I ever do want seriously to try to get a date or to get screwed, it will be with a hooker. And I'll do a whole video just clarifying why that would be the case. But it all just goes back to this thing of like I'm not interested in having any more of my time wasted. And hey, just as another showing of how like insignificant you are to chicks in general, which is why you would think it's really weird like people are even offended by this. If I say something like that, I'm 99% sure it's if anyone like objects to me saying that, it's going to be another man because it has been other men that were upset at me for saying that. Yeah, I'd rather pay for something to be done in less than 2 days than to keep hoping that something will happen after weeks or months of talking to a woman who is wasting my time. Imagine if I actually the video where I go on Facebook and just look up all the chicks that are bigger than the man they're with, and then people are like, "I can't believe you would show these public photos." It's like they're public domain. You know, like if they were private, I wouldn't be able to see them as a non-friend of these people on these websites. Other men taking the pieces, taking the places of chicks getting enraged. So true. There's something in a show that reminds me of. I have to remember where it's like one character's supposed to fight somebody, and then another one's like, he can't come, so maybe I can do it. The obsession with self improvement is what really blinds people from addressing this issue critically. Yeah, because there's no nuance. It's just, oh, just go to the gym forever. Just have an 8 pack. And again, guys, like you have to understand something about real life, which is that people have certain advantages that other people don't have. So telling a man that, oh, just go to the gym and have an 8 or 12 pack. Some people, whether it's because they work or go to school, don't have the time to go to the gym regularly. But again, instead of men actually accepting that the validity of that, because people have lives outside of trying to get a woman 24/7, they just act like pricks. They just tell you, "Oh, just do this, and if you don't, oh, it's your fault." If I said, "Oh, just become a millionaire to get a date," well, I guess it's possible for a man to become a millionaire if he saves up enough and like does whatever. There's a lot of little specifics to go into it, but should you really have to have that much money to go on a date with someone that, again, doesn't have a pot to piss in usually? And I only say that, I'm not saying there are no rich chicks, but most of the time when I see people writing that stuff, they always do seem to acknowledge that more often than not, it's the man that is paying for stuff for the broad. And I don't like that mentality, because then it's like, now not only can we actually prove that the chick is worse off than you, but she's also a detriment as well. Because if I got with some broad, she sure as hell is not going to have to pay for any of my stuff. Would never happen. And again, every time I see a relationship where someone pays for something, it's the guy paying for the broad. Like, who wants to be with someone that drains their resources? But people don't want to accept. Hey, they just put up with it. You're a man, so remember when relationships used to actually be about liking the person? No, you're just a bank for the broad. But don't worry, if you pay for enough for stuff, she'll fall in love with you and like you for who you are. Yeah, exactly. Not sure why other dudes are mad about one man's decision. And they're like, it's not even just mad, like they're typing whole paragraphs. I showed in that one video where the guy wrote three paragraphs worth of sentences in my stream. I'm like, who does that? He was like, I hope you don't ban me. I was like, I'm not going to ban you. I'm laughing at you. That's actually been like a new tactic we do. Instead of getting rid of you, we're going to see if you can get rid of yourself, if you can just walk away from this content creator who dissatisfies you so. Because if you can't, that's kind of disturbing. Like, why would you watch somebody you don't like? People here should try it. Oh, I didn't even know who that was. Somebody always takes a video game character's name and makes a profile with it. I think I had somebody named Sephiroth in one of my. Is he going to descend from the sky and like stab me in the back? It's a site about what site? It's even more disturbing because it's not like your decision is affecting. If anything, it's less. Yeah, and somehow they find a way to get upset over it. But again, you'll never see me write any amount of words about how upset I am that another man doesn't want to talk to chicks anymore. Social skills, yeah, Those definitely need improvement because we all know that men that don't know how to talk to chicks are not able to get are able to get them to talk to them for weeks or months. Dude, when that Gertz person wrote, what was that thing about the dating coaches and help improve conversation? It was like, what's the point of improving conversation with chicks if they're still gonna reject you? Like some of those broads, you can literally talk to 100 times, and I'm not even joking when I say like actually for 100 days straight, and they will still reject you. Oh my god. It's just shaming language to pressure men to keep approaching women who are probably going to reject you anyway. Yeah. Yeah, if they like you so damn much, wouldn't they ask you out? Well, we already saw what happens. One of them asks you out. They start swinging, singing different songs. A lot of ugly normies get girls. They just settle. Well, I mean, I don't even know what you mean by ugly normies. Like I don't sit here and look at men and go, do I think he's pretty enough to get with the woman? Like, what are you talking about? Dude, I wish we could just do a stream where people just stop talking about the way somebody else, because it doesn't add anything to the conversation. Like the whole point of bringing up the weight thing was to talk about how that's one of the like stereotypical self improvement things that you're expected to do while the other side doesn't, and how it's inherently unfair. But I don't know what this person is talking about. Ugly normies. Everyone settles to some degree. But again, it's like, what is it that even like? Listen, with that settle stuff, my problem with it is this: when people say a woman is out of your league, they're not showing proof that she has more money than you. They're not showing proof that she's more famous than you. They're only saying that on the basis of them as straight men finding a woman more attractive than you and other men, which they should anyway. So like I don't understand how, basically it's another one of those subjective nebulous words that people don't put any verifiable stuff behind. Off the bat I can't take this person seriously. Looks is the most relevant thing for dating. Not sure what you mean. You have to pass a looks threshold to even be considered. So he's saying like he has proof that normal is, well, isn't ugly supposed to be like an insult? So you're saying that like most people are ugly? I guess you like Cope and you showed up anyway. Dude, that goes back to what Banana said about how they always come here and act like they're typing something so profound. Sir, if you believe you know what to do, just make a video. I'm not the one saying it doesn't matter anyway because all these ugly normies are getting these shit. Like, what? No, he likes. If we're coping, then he must like coping because he's here. Like I don't drag people to my streams. I don't reach into the screen and grab you and you come here. You show up on your own. Remember, you know who I am. I don't know who you are. You're on my stream, not the other way around. Megumi, if you don't get rid of them, they always show up a second time. That broad said, I will never watch you again, and then showed up a year later. You guys don't admit that looks matter. Well, no one said they don't, but that's like a subjective thing that we're not getting bogged. And again, most of the time when that's discussed, it's just people trying to like insult you without actually addressing what you're saying. So why are you here? How'd you end up here? Explain. Oh, my stream just crashed into his front page on YouTube. Imagine on the front page and then this like big screen just appears. And it's like, who the hell is he to determine who's ugly? Totally, the main guys talking about the way someone else looks always hide their face. They always have some picture of some character or whatever. I follow this guy because he's without being super negative. Oh, here we go with that stupid word again. I'm part of a group I never joined. But remember, you can't talk about chicks without being part of teams. Like, what is super negative? Is that a new power up? He's I word without being super negative. Again, this is the kind of stuff that makes people not want to talk about this when you're getting lumped into groups that you never joined. But we've been over this before. By ugly normies, I mean just guys who are normal but aren't into the I word world and all that. I'm not in their world either. Like, why do you bastards act like if you do a video talking about getting rejected by chicks, you're automatically part of a crew? I'm not on any of your goddamn forums. I don't talk to your members unless you show up on my stuff. I'm not in your world either. You try to pull me into it, I say screw you. And you still haven't explained what super negative is. You're overcomplicating it. Maybe you're not an I word, but you have trouble with girls. Well, you didn't explain what you meant by I word. And how am I overcomplicating it? I'd love to know. Dude, they just talk in so many nebulous terms. How is it being overcomplicated? How are you part of a group that you never signed up for? How did they induct me? What is the definition for joining this group? What is the basis of being super negative? Usually, ugly normies just cope and say they're not ugly when that's obvious BS. Okay, but if you don't think I'm pretty, I have no control over that. And like I said, I don't know why a bunch of men are talking about the looks of another man if they're apparently attracted to chicks. That's why I said there's like this like weird homoeroticism with a lot of these guys on here. Like I don't go around say I saw this ugly man because it's not my job to determine who's ugly or not. There are chicks I don't think are pretty and they still get men. Yes, I word means you don't get laid. That's all. No, that's BS. There are, so what? Do you have like a scorekeeper of the last time I've been screwed? Like, what are you talking about? Are hey, wait a second. You know what? Are children I words too? Because they presumably have not been screwed. Like, you see how that definition is so like you just completely made it this wide ranging, ridiculous, all absolving thing that is very like not like ill defined. Like it doesn't really hold up. None of us claiming to be attractive. What the hell are you? Yeah, the only ones that talk about looks are the people that come to my video and attack me over my appearance, which again is unwarranted because I don't sit here talking about the way chicks look. I don't claim to be pretty, so I don't really know what this has to do with the points being made. By super negative, I mean he's not one of these I words who think they need to be 6'6" and make 100,000 to get laid. No, you don't need 100,000 to get laid. You can go to Las Vegas, Nevada, and sometimes pay under $200 for a broad to screw you. Yes, obviously I'm I word, LOL. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. The point is, you might need to settle for what? What are you talking about? LOL, who said any of us were attractive are boastful of our looks? Yeah, no one who regularly is in my comment section sits around talking about how attractive they believe they are. Some people are broke and still get women. Yeah, I don't know what the hell these guys are talking about. Settle looks wise. Sir, maybe you don't watch me and you're like just pretending to be some subscriber of mine because I don't know, I could go on my thing and look. Uh, but I don't sit around talking about how attractive a woman needs to be and all the rest of that. And I've like you don't approach 90 plus chicks if you have such ridiculously high standards. Again, those two things don't bear each other out. Dude, obviously. No, because these chicks would never ever settle for you. Women always have the upper hand in the dating market. Yeah, I said that earlier. Well, it's nice to know I'm part of a group I never signed up for. That's always a treat. I love that this is the only group in the world that has a monopoly on talking about this topic. Again, if I was part of the I Word group, I would put their thing as like part of my video because I know I would get more views if I like identified as part of that group, but I'm not. And I have these other people who don't know me who feel like they have to put me in that box with them. What a cope. It's not their game, it's their looks. You just are too scared to admit that you can judge another man's looks. Well, maybe some men don't really like not talking about the way another man looks. Rub was this rub oil all over my body because I'm too and have a six pack. You are an I word. I'm the official I word designator. All right, if we're just going to call each other words that the other person doesn't consent to, can I call you a name that you don't like since you're here? Do they love you? Hey, James, you remember last year when that guy that like got upset with me made the video on me and he tried to say that I was coping with politics for not having a relationship? Like they do believe that if you talk about anything that's not chicks, it always like ties back to bra. It's like you can't actually be interested in things that aren't them without it having something to do with a woman. Because again, that's all they think about. So it has to be the same for you. He's using politics to cope with not being with. So I was like, I went to school for this. You really think I tried to get a degree in political science for the sake of, I guess, not thinking about women, really? LOL, you only are in a group if you consent to being in that group. What sense does that make? Well, yeah, if I wanted to be a Democrat, I would register for the Democratic Party. What do you mean? What sense is that? What sense does it make for someone who's never met me to be able to define what team or affiliations I have? Bunch of ugly dudes in here coping because apparently Samus installed the software that lets you see people who aren't showing their face in a live chat. Dude, every time somebody calls me ugly, it's always another man who claims to be straight. I could see if I was at like a gay bar or something, but it's this man is claiming he is upset or doesn't get with women or wants to get with women, talking about how ugly other men are. You know what, James? The thing that really gets me is that those groups, I looked the definition up online. It's an online subculture of men. If you don't sign up for their forums, if you don't talk to their members, how are you part of their crew? I don't care to discuss anymore. Just take a peek into the forum. It's interesting to say the least. Yeah, why are you here? That's why I'm into these forums, obviously. Well, I'm not. I have no affiliation with you people. We only ever interact when you come to me, you enter my dojo. The beauty is subjective, Cope. Oh, so now you're gonna say physical attractiveness is a fact. Okay. They're gonna literally turn opinions into facts. What is mostly agreed upon? Do you have a poll to support any of what you're saying? No, you don't. You're just spouting off nonsense in my chat. Like, what is mostly agreed upon? By who? What studies? All the studies are made up. And like I said, even if you have traits that people find like being tall, whatever, you can still find men that don't have them that get a date. Just look up studies showing most attractiveness is agreed upon by most races, cultures. What attractiveness? What specific traits? Dude, I'm not holding your hand. Holding my hand? Man, the homoeroticism just reeked out there. I don't want to hold hands with another man. No, thank you. Especially one who is so ridiculous as to tell me I'm part of a group I didn't sign up for. Y'all still, oh, here we go with the pills. That's why y'all won't get anywhere, LOL. Because we all know if you want to get laid, you can't go to Las Vegas and pay a chick less than $200 to get screwed. Yeah, that's real tough. And by the way, if you were getting somewhere, you wouldn't be watching my video. I dare to think that if I was with a woman, I wouldn't be looking up videos by men about not getting with one. Just a thought. Do you know what's funny? The people who always come here and they act like they have the answers, they somehow find themselves in these comment sections. Oh, and now some racial slurs too. What's oof about that? So let me get this straight. You see, this goes back to like how you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. You'll make fun of someone for not getting laid, and then when they get laid, you'll still make fun of them. Again, do not listen to any of these guys on the computer because they will always find a way to try and make you be in these situations that you cannot win because they're designed to be as antagonistic to you as possible. According to who? Listen, bastard, you just said if people don't get screwed, then they're somehow coping with their inability to get screwed. So if you get screwed by who happens to be a chick, she has a triangle just like any of the ones you don't pay for. Now she somehow doesn't count. Again, say something that makes sense. Use some logic for once. Had to stoop that low. Yeah, they don't count according to him. I'll make fun of you for not getting screwed. Oh, wait, you just got screwed by someone you pay for. Oh, it doesn't count according to me. Like, dude, Brandon, this is how they act. They'll make fun of you for getting rejected by a bimbo that will talk to you for weeks or months just to waste your time. And then they'll make fun of you for getting what you want from somebody you paid for to get what you want from. Dude, I love it when these people they're all trying to be Joker from Dark Knight. Cells, LOL. Meanwhile, you're low with brothers be getting it in. Dude, he stopped speaking English. What is in him? What are you talking about? This is how they act. They always put LOL or start cursing at the end of their sentences to sound like so witty. I'm gonna make fun of you for not getting screwed. Oh, you just got screwed by someone that did it for a price. that's much cheaper than a lot of these girlfriends that these people have who beg them for money every day. Oh, that doesn't count. Act more black to get laid. Again, we're not even going to take you seriously anymore because you just proved that you're spouting nonsense. But you proved our point where we can't actually have a discussion on it. Yeah, because like he's calling people racial slurs, different groups and whatever. Like we're actually sitting here having a discussion where nobody's insulted. People are actually addressing what's being said. There's no weird inversions of logic. Like he'll make fun of you for not getting screwed. Then when you can pay to get screwed and get screwed, it doesn't count somehow according to his magic logic that again is not logical in the slightest. And now he's the determinator, or excuse me, he's the determiner of who's attractive because he says ugly normies, and who's the most black. What? Yeah, the great Samus has been able to show us how to act black. What is acting more black, and why do you assume most of these people here are black? But then you think about if he acts black to the correct extent, wouldn't he be able to get women to get laid like he says? You see how like again the stuff starts cracking, it doesn't add up. Dude, for that I word group, it's the only team on planet Earth that you can join without even signing up for. Like if I want to join the Democrats, I register with them from my county. If I want to join the Republicans, register with them from my county. If I want to join the NRA, I register with them. Like this is the only team I've ever seen where you say something, oh, now you're part of our group. And it's like you can look at him as the perfect example of why I don't use their name in any of my stuff. Why would I want to be with rude bastards who invert logic, who disrespect my entire chat, and whose idea of a conversation is to come in here and spout nonsense and put LOL at the end of every sentence like they're actually doing something that's worth listening to? No, because he would blame his looks immediately. Yep. They all believe in the insta fix. Just act more black. So James, you need to know that that if you ever want to learn how to act more black, just listen to official Act Black Master Samus. Dude, these people act like parody accounts. Like they remind me of stuff you see where like on Twitter they have like a fake Trump account where it's like the best tremendous, like that's what they remind me of. Where they don't listen to what you have to say. They start telling you about, oh, I know you're not going to talk about femininity. Where's the name Samus from? Last time I checked, that was a female video game character. And how the hell are you gonna talk about ugly men as if you're a woman discussing her attractiveness to men? Oh my god! If you guys really didn't believe me, y'all wouldn't be getting so heated. We're laughing at you. You see a clown, you laugh. You know, I have the same reaction to what you typed as I would going to the circus. They still up there making balloon animals. Yeah, we're giggling. Remember, you were typing LOL. Right, LOL. See, he just did it. I predicted it. That's his catchphrase. When he wants to show that he's like owning people somehow by spouting his BS, he puts LOL at the end of it to like make himself look as if he's winning some victory in this debate. Yeah. And again, if he wants to identify with the woman as his avatar, whatever, but don't sit in here trying to act like you're the determiner of masculinity, because real men don't sit around harassing other men online because they're not with a woman. You're going to keep running in circles if you don't focus on what matters. You've been making the same stream complaint about being an I word for years now. Oh, so if a woman accepts going on a date, then you'll suddenly not be an I word according to you. Asking for a friend. And again, if you don't like my streams being redundant, then you don't have to watch them. I'm not your hands. I'm not your fingers. You could have clicked that off and never have to see me again. See, that's why I told you whenever these bastards come and say, talk about something else or like do this, you know it's BS because when you address something else or discuss another topic, which I do often, I talk about the news most of the time, nowhere to be seen. You won't see Samus comment on one goddamn video about the news, about Dragon Ball, but he'll sit here and talk about chicks 24/7. That'll be where he decides to manifest. It's not about being a real man. It's about looking good. Pretty boys are probably more popular now than masculine men. Yeah, because you're the definition of masculine, right? You come in the stream insulting people that are trying to talk like here we are, all of us, you know, Megumi and SBS, the rest of them, all speaking like statesmen. And you're gonna come in here trying to talk like some monkey in the zoo about who's really black. And even if you get screwed, if it happens to be by a hooker, then it somehow doesn't count, even though it's the same effect. I guess she suddenly does no longer have a triangle for you to stick inside of. You're part of a group you never signed up for, according to you. Oh, definitely. Dude, every stream has one of these people. Like we even had a woman on here. We just had a like productive dialogue. Nobody's name calling. No one's insulting anyone. Then there's always that one person that shows up. Okay, then why do you think you're not getting laid? The same reason they're doing it to everybody else. Chick standards are too high. But how does getting turned down by a woman make you part of a group you never signed up for? Like you guys always try to make somebody feel bad for talking about this when they're literally doing it to loads of men. Okay, then yeah, that's legit and based, and I agree. Women's standards are too high, but I'm still gonna call you not acting black enough, and I'm gonna say that you're part of a team you never signed up for, and I'm gonna say that you're coping, and I'm gonna say that you didn't eat this pill. Dude, and then, like all these little stupid nebulous terms. It's insane. This is the only pill I use, the orange one. This is actually a tangible thing I can put in front of you, not some weird computer lingo. It's supposed to help with energy, immunity, metabolism, muscle function. That's my pill. Like I said, you go in the real world, I haven't heard one person that's not on the computer start talking about I words. And N words don't stream on YouTube complaining about women, LOL. Yeah, there are no black people on YouTube that stream, yeah, that talk about chicks. There wasn't a black guy that got, what was it, 900,000 subscribers that people were spamming his name in my comment section. That's what I mean by not acting black. Because I'm Samus, I get to determine who acts black and who doesn't, yeah. I was crowned the determiner of who acts the correct way according to their ethnicity. Even though I'm supposedly acting the right way, but I'm still getting rejected too, which is why I'm here watching your damn video in the first place, yeah. Oh man, this is some clown stuff today. Like they always have that one guy that just shows up. They never did explain how they ended. Yeah, dude, you would think I dragged him to my stream. Yeah, he's the king of black people. Dude, imagine what I would look like if I came on here and I said, I will determine who acts black enough according to me. I would get laughed at in a heartbeat. But when these people write this stupid stuff in my comment section, you know, they think it sounds intelligent. I could have gotten laid with the fatty, but she was disgusting. That's my point. Any guy can get laid. You just got to settle. Okay, then just go and do that then. Dude, you know what's sad? It's like we do these streams, we talk about, wanting to get like a date. Because I don't expect a person to want to screw me after one date. And it's like you say over and over again, you're not interested in getting screwed because it's, you've done it before. I don't know why it's like, whatever. They just put words in your mouth. Like they don't really care what you have to say. They just go on their little tangents. Dude, we need to have like what I'm gonna do is that after this stream is over, I'm gonna get some version of beer and I'm gonna take a drink every time he puts LOL and see how drunk I am. LOL, LOL. Let's actually, you know what? Let's count them. 1, 2, go up a little bit further. 3. They type like 99 comments a minute, Jesus. 4, 5, 6, 7. 11. No, that's not him. Okay, that's somebody else wrote something. 8. Okay. So that's at least 8 times that he wrote LOL at the end of his sentence or in the sentence. And he did all that in like less than 30 minutes. Good, don't settle. Most men do. No, we're supposed to. That's why I said, like, all these people that give this advice, they don't even make any sense. Like, if you know how to get a woman, why are you here? What did you just type? Whose butt are you talking about? Yeah, whose butt? No, I don't know if you're talking about mine or a woman the way you guys act. I really hope you weren't talking about mine. This is YT, not the YMCA. Like we don't need that here. I see that. It's like but who's behind? Oh, I could tell you were. I'm glad one of them finally admitted it. I mean, I took it offensive when you said I was part of a group I never signed up for. So tit for tat. You guys don't really get to offend people. I took it offensive when you tried to tell me who's acting black enough. So, you guys kind of get what you gave. If you don't get nice, you're not going to give. If you don't give nice, you're not going to get nice. James said he's lying. Well, no need to state the obvious. I haven't seen Cam Kakarot in forever. Well, we were having a pretty productive discussion just about the chick stuff, and then this person came on here and started saying people were part of groups they're not part of, and telling us who passes the black code, and about settling, and make us sound like we're slave traders, like we're colonizers. We got to settle in this territory. Well, it's true to a point. You do have to be a stereotype to get yeah, Samus actually overnight was elected the king of all African Americans, and he can tell you who's being black enough to get laid. And then if you decide to get laid by a hooker, he claims it doesn't count, even if it's the same effect of getting screwed by a woman, which is what these people claim is so impossible to do, even though you can pay to have it done. So he's been making up the rules as he goes, and I'm kind of getting a little fatigued from it because I don't really like talking to walls. Of course, it makes no sense, but that's how. I mean, his very definition presence of being here doesn't make any sense. He's a man who claims to know how to get with a woman, but is somehow watching the videos of someone that doesn't. I would dare to believe that if I was knowingly aware of what to do to get with a woman, I wouldn't be watching videos by people that don't get with one. But here they end up. I don't know. According to him, I've somehow used my allure to drag him here. That's just so sad. We had like the first dude, he turned this stream into a trash TV talk show, like the whole first hour and a half, or first hour at least. We're over here talking like statesmen and having this civilized discussion, this debonair back and forth, and he wants to sit here and Southeast Asia. Yeah, I've thought about going there into Afghanistan and Iraq and Pakistan and Somalia and Syria and Yemen and India and Iraq and Russia and Canada and the United Kingdom, anywhere to meet abroad, right? I never claimed to know how to get laid beyond, well, we can go back and read what you wrote earlier. You just got to settle. Women can have any kind of man they want, and men that are a lot of times better off than they are, but you just got to settle. What's that? You did end up getting laid by someone that you pay? Oh, that doesn't count, even though it's the same effect. No, it doesn't count. There's a lot of contradictions and double standards and strange stuff that's being employed here. Educate us on how to get chicks and how to be black, Lord Samus. And then he had the nerve to try to say we weren't being masculine, and he's naming himself after a woman video game character. The nerve. Well, it doesn't matter what you really count. Like, you think if I go and pay a hooker to bang me, I'm going to think about, what would Samus think of me if he found out that I was getting laid? Like, I don't care. You don't matter. And you wouldn't matter to anyone else here if they got sick of talking to chicks that don't like them, but will sit there and talk to them for weeks or months either. Yeah, but like according to who you say it doesn't count, like who is this guy? Yeah. Do you really think if any of us decided tomorrow to go to Vegas, and I always use there because you can do it legally, but to just seek out a hooker, we're gonna be like, oh man, I don't think I can do this. What would Samus say? Remember, Samus is the same guy that'll mock you for never getting screwed. So again, with him, he's one of those people that you're just damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you don't get screwed, ha. If you get screwed by a hooker, ha. So it's like, just gotta pick your poison. Dude, that broad that I was willing to go on a date with, she was talking about she didn't like having breasts and that she was covering. I was like, with these chicks, and that's the thing that really kills me. Like, you'll tell somebody that approached 90 plus chicks, they're not willing to settle. And then the broad that asked me out, like her face was attractive. She was, like, I guess good physique, I suppose. But, she had a whole bunch of little like things I didn't like, and I still accepted her just on the premise of, first come, first serve, anything goes. But you're going to tell me I need to settle even more? Like, it's just a parody of itself at this point. Maybe I'm dumb, but what does women being masculine have to do with anything? Dude, they insert all kind of like we had a whole conversation where we just talk about how difficult it was to go to a woman with a woman, no less. And he starts talking about I've been following this I word who's not super negative. And I'm like, what is super negative? Is that like a new form? Some power up? And then you're gonna tell me that I was inducted into this group without my consent. So they molested me into their group. Because I said like when I want to join real like actual groups, I have to sign paperwork. I have to it's you can ask somebody in the chat what I mean by that. I don't like saying that word because I don't want to be associated with them, and that's why I don't use their terminology in any of my stuff. Yeah, that's what it is, Cam. I was saying that we had this productive dialogue, and then he gets into his name calling fit, and it's like, again, this isn't Jerry Springer. That show ended 3 years ago. But I guess he thinks he walked onto the set of it. That'd be funny if I got a green screen and actually made the background look like that show. Our next guest is Samus. He claims to know how to get with a woman, even though he watches videos by people he claims don't know how to get with women. Let's meet this phenomenon. And then he comes out and everybody's clapping. And then he starts talking. They go, boo. People throw that word around with. And dude, you know what? That's what kills me about it, right? Because I looked the definition of the word up. It said people who are part of an online subculture that are not with the woman, right? So you have to be part of this subculture to be that word. But these people actually have taken it and tried to say that, no, if you get rejected by a woman ever and you're not with a woman, but you like want to be with one, you're automatically part of the team. And like I said, there are plenty of chicks that want a boyfriend but don't have one, or want a husband but don't have one, and no one says they're part of the involuntarily unable to get with the man group. Like there's no other group that has this type of like weird forced lingo thrust upon them. And I've seen people get called that word who have wives. And I even did a whole video. You can go look it up. It's called Romance the New N-Word, showing where they were calling men who are with women that word because they don't like them. So this is not a word you want to be affiliated with if you're like looking at the way people use it. And he's like, no, you're part of this team because I said so. I, Samus, do declare. Dude, Came, go to type in Romance the New N-Word and you'll see what I'm talking about. There's a political commentator. Him and his wife do videos together. And they both criticized this female politician. So because he criticized the woman, people were saying he was an I-word. Who Oh my God. I told you, any group that's worth the piss, you got to sign up for. You got to sign up for the Democrats. You got to sign up for the Green Party, for the Libertarian Party, for the Republican Party, for the NRA, for the, what was it, the NAACP? Like the only group I've ever seen in human history where like people declare you're part of the crew without even identifying as it or affiliating yourself with them in any way is the I-words. It's the only team ever. They do their forceful inductions. You have this opinion? Well, we have a monopoly. Damn, that's crazy. Like, dude, imagine just wanting a date and then you come online and people are saying you're part of a group that has members that like support terrorism. Like, you're like, what the hell? I just wanted a date. I didn't know that like I would be inducted into this team. If you've only had, well, I mean, Samus, do you have like, I'm sorry, do you have any like proof that that's been the case with me? I don't, and again, it's like, I've never seen anyone besides you have this definition. Dude, that word's definition is all over the place. That's why you can't take it seriously, because like with these other groups, you look up their definition and it's one solid thing. With this one, it could be man that criticizes woman. It could be uh man that, again, according to him, has only been with two chicks that aren't hookers. Like, it's so weird. What does the amount of women someone has had have to? Oh, because that's all they care about. You don't get laid. See, this is what I'm talking about. Like, he's saying that the group means if you're a man that doesn't get laid, but if you look up the literal definition, it doesn't say that. It says men that are not in relationships despite wanting to be, that are part of a subculture. Well, I have gotten one, and she was the biggest gold digger in US history. That's why that stupid clown is gone. If you haven't gotten a girl, you're an I word. So that means that, like, any man who's ever single is part of that group, right? You see how, like, the stuff gets even flimsier. Like, they don't even know. Like, first he says if you have never been laid before, you're part of the group. Then it's if you've only been laid by two chicks that aren't hookers, then you're part of the group. Then it's if you don't have a girlfriend currently, you're part. So, like, I'm not going to sit here and listen to his. What was that movie? 101 Dalmatians. He's got 101 definitions for the I word. And look what he just did. That was the 9th or 10th time he said, dude, came. I guess he's like trying to be the new Howard Stern in my comment section. Every time he says something and it gets called out for being inconsistent, he puts LOL at the end of it, and like he's like winning some major victory. He is ignorant. He was calling people racial slurs, telling them that they're part of groups they didn't consent to, cursing the storm up. Like, again, the rest of us were in here talking like statesmen. Well, I'm glad you feel that way. We'll see how many people in here agree with you, because you insulted a lot of people for no reason. How many women are required to sleep with to not be one? Yeah, this number as determined by the great Samus. Oh my god. But see, guess what? With Samus, right? He says celibate means you don't get screwed. But he even said that if you get screwed by hookers, which it's the same effect, it's a woman banging you. They're like, oh, well, that doesn't count according to Samus. Well, it's not too strong, because if it was, you would have left. Remember, you're on my video. Like, you heard of me, I'd never heard of you. So does that mean Buddhist monks are I words because they don't? Yeah, apparently. You keep using the word cope wrong too. Dude, they just spam the same couple of words. The I word, this variation color of pill, cope. It's just all. Dude, I had a guy last year who told me that I went to school for as a political science major to cope with not being with a woman. Like, I studied politics for years because I was supposedly coping with not being with the broad. So they throw these words around like candy. Reddit hates. Reddit? What are you talking about, Reddit? Oh God, go back to whatever. Oh no, he's on one of those forums. And see, a lot of them are mad at me because I'm not on their forums. I'm not part of their team, so they try to like make me part of it by having these really flimsy definitions. Yeah, James, do you blame them? These are the same group of guys who will support and prop up people that have committed murders. Uh, so they're, and again, every time I see someone who's not part of that group use that word, it's a negative context. I even showed it in my video. Well, they're real mad at me because I don't want to be part of the team, so they have to tell me that I'm inducted without my consent. Now I'm going to induct you into the clown crew without your consent. Since you inducted me into the I word group, I'm going to induct you in the clown crew. Since we don't take what people want anymore as value. You're on it whether you like it or not. It is your home. Yeah, it'll be my home when you bastards actually do something besides run your mouth in comment sections. My home. Yeah, they got a whole team where all they do is talk about chicks all day long, and insult people and be rude and nasty. Yeah, that's why when a man complains about not being able to get a woman, he has to distance himself from that group. Yeah, because they've represented men terribly. And a lot of people have, they've kind of like been turned into useful idiots where they've been like used to justify like, oh, he's not good, so he must be part of this group. I'm angry and lashing out, but you're the one that came to my comment section calling people racial slurs and telling them they're part of teams that they're not part of, and then trying to like say that everybody in here is ugly without even seeing what they. But I'm the one who's angry. All right. Dude, Cam, that word for the last 3 years, you can't even like. I remember when I made the first video in 2015, no one said that word that year or the following year. It was only like 3 years ago where they just spam that thing everywhere. And again, it's not helpful because they don't like if you join that group, people are not going to address what you talk about. They're going to associate you with violent bastards that members of that group like. So there's nothing that comes out of it. And the members of the group show they don't actually care about the people in it because you won't see him donate. You won't see any of those other guys because they're just here to write ridiculous stuff and run their mouths. There is nothing productive that comes out of any association with those people. Because again, they're part of that agenda that's trying to normalize ridiculous stuff by chicks by making all the men that they turn down seem insane. And it's not a good look for men to be affiliated with that. Well, it doesn't matter if you try to approach because you still insulted me even after I'd done that. So go argue with the wall. That's why I said you're the kind of person who you can't win with. The thing is, you can't view dating and sex through such a limited lens. Like you have to act this way or behave this way. But like I said, these people just the stuff they write, okay, is their opinion. And they try to use their opinion as a fact. He tried to say earlier that his opinion of like people not being pretty was a fact when it's not. That's the whole point of saying there are chicks I don't find attractive that have boyfriends because it's supposed to highlight that you can't sit here and act like just because you don't think somebody's pretty, it actually matters to other people. Mad about what? Nobody here has done anything to you. Again, that was ridiculous. The rest of us in here were talking like statesmen. We had a discussion that could be at Camp David, for example. This completely diplomatic um, resolve that we all were just having this candid, you know, discussion about, and then you come in here talking like you're on some trash TV talk show. A lot of looks is agreed upon. Most all men prefer young and not obese, symmetrical face. Look, dude, if I approach chicks on Reddit where I didn't even see what they look like. I'm not going to sit here like, sure, I have preferences, but I've bent them over and over again. You don't talk to 90 plus chicks if you have standards that you're unwilling to bend sometimes. What does that have to do with anything? They just type all kind of stuff. Like, we don't even sit here talking about looks anyway. Only time that stuff gets brought up is when people sit here and start talking about go to the gym as if it's this insta fix for this problem. Anyways, look, I've gone on long enough. I'm not about to sit here and argue with this guy all day. I got stuff to do. So thanks for showing up, Cam. Thanks, Brandon. Thanks, Megumi. I think he went to sleep. Thanks, James. Where's Banana Merchant? He vanished a little while ago. But yeah, thanks to those people. And I hope that next time we have a discussion, we can actually, again, talk like adults instead of, monkeys at the zoo. They just type whatever and hope it sticks, thinking it's so profound. Yeah, I mean that's how the internet is. They like just go to a stream, annoy people, and type LOL at the end of everything, and you'll be some debating master. You'll convince yourself of that. So thanks for showing up. Appreciate it. See you later.